Hey Scentfreaks, welcome! I purchased 7 Zara fragrances recently. I haven't had a lot of exposure to Zara. I only ever owned one, which was the Baccarat Rouge 540 dupe, the Red Temptation. So I repurchased that because I use that one all the time. And then I purchased 6 more with it. And I've been playing with them now for a couple of days, and I have some thoughts on them. Which Zara fragrance is your favorite, guys? Which one stands out in their collection? Shoot it in the comments below and let me know. If you're new to my channel, or maybe you've been here before and you love fragrance like I do, please don't forget to subscribe, hit notifications, and like this video. It really does help my channel. Okay, guys, so I think the first one to start with would be the one that I've always owned, which is the Baccarat Rouge 540 dupe, and that is Red Temptation. So you can see this was actually a new bottle. As I said, I only bought them like a couple of days ago, and look at the dint in this. It's crazy. So yeah, I will just do a really quick kind of thoughts with you guys. I'm not going to go into great detail or scent notes or anything like that. We're just going to tell you basically whether or not I think they're any good, would I repurchase them, and which one were my favorites, if any, in the collection. So as I said earlier, Red Temptation is the Baccarat Rouge 540 dupe, and it is a really, really good dupe. It retails for 45 Australian dollars for a 180ml bottle, which is a very reasonable price point, I think. Almost every single time I've worn this scent, I've had multitudes of people come up to me and ask me if I'm wearing Baccarat Rouge, or ask me what the fragrance was that I was wearing and that they loved it. So this one is really one of my top 3 Baccarat Rouge 540 clones. The fact that it's only $45 for such a large bottle is kind of just that extra frosting on the cake. I can replace it whenever I need to. It's not going to break the bank. And I think overall Zara did a really good job in imitating Baccarat's DNA. Longevity and projection are actually quite decent as well. I get about 6 hours on the skin, longer on clothes and hair. It does last, a considerable amount of time considering the price. And the bottle design, even the chic, simplistic design stands out on the display. It's minimalistic, but it looks beautiful, very modern, and as I said, very chic. The only real difference between Red Temptation and Baccarat Rouge is that Red Temptation has a woodier, drier dry down. Baccarat does have some woodiness to it. This one for me does lean much drier, and the woody notes are more prominent. But it doesn't interfere with the fragrance to the point where you go, oh, it doesn't smell like Baccarat anymore. It also seems to be quite fleeting because in its final dry down phase, the woodier notes do dissipate a bit more and it's not so prominent. So it's not there sort of the long duration of the fragrance. If you love Baccarat Rouge, or maybe you're curious to try Baccarat Rouge and you don't want to pay that ridiculous amount of money for it, definitely grab Red Temptation. I really think it's a really great dupe, and especially considering the fact that the Baccarat Rouge that's going around now, the reformulated Baccarat, ain't the Baccarat I would ever want to own anyway. So the next Zara fragrance I purchased was Oriental. Oriental retails for 35 Australian dollars, so it is again still in that affordable price bracket. Unfortunately for me, Oriental was a little disappointing, to be perfectly honest. While the fragrance did have some really promising scent notes that were kind of right up my alley, caramel, vanilla, and whatnot, I don't believe it really delivered. I didn't get a whole lot of caramel or vanilla. It honestly was pretty anticlimactic for me. Honestly, all I really get from this fragrance is florals, musk, and patchouli. I believe Oriental is supposed to be a dupe for Victor Rolls Flower Bomb, but in my experience, in my opinion, this ain't even similar to Flower Bomb. Flower Bomb is much more gourmand. It's much more sweet, even though it's called Flower Bomb. It's not overly floral, in my opinion, whereas this one is all about the floral. For me, this fragrance is far too unremarkable, somewhat generic smelling, and way too floral for my personal taste. I would not repurchase this fragrance. The next fragrance I purchased was Orchid. Orchid retails for $35.95 for an 80ml bottle. And unfortunately, This one I didn't like much either. Again, this fragrance went way too floral and reminded me more of an air freshener or maybe even, toilet spray rather than a fragrance. It certainly isn't something I would want to walk around and smell like. For me, it really did lack body and substance. Maybe with some sweet, intoxicating notes added in the background or some woodiness or something. It just lacked that oomph factor. It was quite watered down. And as I said, yeah, it reminds me of some sort of an air freshener. The florals were so overbearing that the peach and apple in this fragrance, it turned them sour and almost like, when a piece of fruit starts to turn off or go sour, that's what it's done to the beautiful fruit in this fragrance. The next fragrance I purchased was Rose Gourmand. Rose Gourmand retails for $45.95 for an 80 ml bottle. Okay, so guys, this one by far, besides the Red Temptation, was my absolute favorite. This one was a winner. It honestly smells like a syrupy candied rose lattes with caramel syrup on top. It is so delicious smelling. It actually reminds me of two of my most favorite fragrances ever, Roses Vanille by Mancera and Intense Cafe by Montal. It is like a combination of both of them, but it could substitute as a dupe for either. It's also got great longevity and projection too. I got 8 hours on my skin with this one, so I was really happy with that. This one really is an affordable dupe, as I said, for Roses Vanille or Intense Cafe, or anybody who's a gourmand lover out there who loves those really sweet, yummy fragrances. This one is it. The next fragrance I purchased was Nude Bouquet. Nude Bouquet retails for $17.95 for a 30 ml bottle. Unfortunately, this one didn't wow me. I wasn't that fussed on it. It kind of fell into that same category as the other disappointing ones I've talked about, with the florals being quite overbearing and it kind of simulating more of an air freshener or toilet freshener to me. It's really quite generic and unremarkable for me. It's a pretty typical fresh floral fragrance. And I mean, in saying that, it's even basic compared to that category or that genre of fragrances, which for me is really saying something. I only wore this fragrance once because I really didn't enjoy the scent a lot and I found it extremely weak as well. So it is again that it comes down to that watery kind of feel to it. There's no substance, there's no body, there's no oomph to give it that longevity and projection. But to be honest, I don't know if I'd want it to hang around me anyway. Needless to say, I was not into this fragrance and I would not repurchase it again. The next fragrance I purchased was apple juice. Let me just start by saying apple juice genuinely caught me off guard. When I saw the scent notes, I figured I wasn't really that fussed on it. I was more curious about the name. And then when I smelt it, I actually really liked it. Apple juice retails for $17.95 for a 30 ml bottle. It definitely does smell like a crispy, light, slightly sour, sweet apple juice. I mean, they've definitely done a very good job, with that. The name totally matches the fragrance. It's a little light, it's a little fizzy, it's a little crisp, it's a little clean, it's a little fruity, it's a little sweet. I mean, it's a good balance of everything. It has this fresh, tart, tangy, fizzy, clean vibe to it. Apple juice would be incredibly easy to wear. It's one of those scents that, on a hot summer day or to go to the office as a signature scent, you could just whack on and not even think about it. It's inoffensive, it's easy to like, it's definitely easy to wear, and I would definitely repurchase this fragrance. The final fragrance I purchased was Gardenia. Gardenia retailed for $35.95, but it came in a twin pack with this one. So you actually got two for $35.95. You can buy them separately for $25.95, but they're definitely great value in that pack. This one was actually another surprise. I really did like this scent. I thought by the scent note listings and obviously being called Gardenia that it was just going to overtake me with florals and kind of, fall into the categories of some of these other ones. But it really didn't. It's not just about all florals with this one. Sometimes the names on these Zara fragrances are very deceptive too. I found that there were some where you'd think that they were floral and they weren't, and then there was some vice versa. So definitely confusing for me. It's juicy, it's sweet, and it reminds me of a purple grape or purple wine. It's not boozy, but I mean, it does have a purple lid. So I'm assuming there is grape in there, but it does. And it totally reminds me of the color purple, without a doubt. The florals are still there, but they're not overtaking everything. They're more complementing the fruit. And that's the balance. That's the perfect balance. I really mostly get a lot of peach and raspberry with a really juicy plump purple grape. It actually doesn't have bad longevity and projection for the price either. I think I got about 3 hours out of it before I really couldn't smell it much anymore. But for 35.95 for 2 bottles, I don't mind reapplying it. Needless to say, I really did like this scent and I would likely repurchase it in the future for sure. Okay, scent freaks, so that is my Zara video. This was really fun actually being able to get my hands on some more Zara fragrances. And I mean, no, I didn't love all of them, but there was certainly a couple there that really surprised me and stood out. Honestly, good enough to be in my collection long term as well. So I'm really happy that I was able to experience Zara. Again, guys, please don't forget to tell me what your favorite Zara fragrance is. Is it one of these, or is there one out there that I absolutely have to try? Let me know in the comments below and I will get back to you. Thank you so much, scent freaks. I love and appreciate you all, and I hope to see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.